I knew something was wrong the moment the laughter at the dinner table twisted into something sharper, something aimed at me. Mark thought I couldn't hear him earlier, whispering to his friends while I set out the wine glasses. "She's replaceable," he said, like he was commenting on a broken appliance. The word burrowed into me, cold and surgical, slicing through whatever remained of the person I tried to be for him. But I didn't react. I dried my hands on a towel, steady and silent, the way I used to be as a child, hiding bruises behind locked bathroom doors. Back then, I learned that stillness could be armor. Tonight, it would be a weapon. His friends sat around the table, now 3 of them, loud and smug. Men who played at being powerful but trembled the moment anything real touched them. I knew each other's secrets the way a surgeon knows every artery before making the first incision. It wasn't difficult. They left their digital footprints everywhere. Deleted messages that weren't really deleted. Offshore accounts disguised as consulting fees. A shared Dropbox folder filled with things they'd swear they'd never seen before. Mark just handed me the matches, telling me to light the candles like I was part of the decor. I struck the match, watching the flame catch, tiny and trembling, but burning all the same. I remembered the first time he humiliated me, early in our marriage, when he told my mother I was lucky he'd chosen me, or when he forced me to apologize to him for crying after he snapped at me in public. These were small cuts, but cuts add up. Eventually you realize you're bleeding out quietly, politely, one apology at a time. So I learned to stop bleeding, and I started collecting a misplaced USB drive in his jacket, screenshots of conversations I was never meant to see, passwords guessed with embarrassing ease. Mark still used our anniversary as his fallback. Though he'd forgotten it himself more than once, I sat at the table beside him, smiling just enough to be forgettable. The room smelled of rosemary, seared meat, and the faint cologne his friend Trevor always drowned himself in. A storm pressed against the windows, the kind that made the lights flicker every few minutes. Mark kept pouring wine, topping off everyone's glass except mine. It was always like that, small punishments when he felt insecure. But tonight, he'd already lost. He just didn't know it. When dessert was served, I rose from my chair with the same quiet grace my father once told me made me unintimidating. He meant it as a compliment. He'd been wrong. Quiet things are often the most dangerous. People never notice the blade until it's already inside them. I lifted my glass. The crystal chimed faintly, a small sound swallowed by the storm. Mark's friends turned to me with lazy indulgence, expecting a toast about hospitality or marriage or something equally harmless. Instead, I said, "Before we finish the night, I want to thank you all for helping me finally see the truth." Mark frowned. That was expected. He hated surprises unless he orchestrated them. "I used to think I was a fragile one," I continued, letting my voice settle into something low and steady. "But fragility is interesting. It makes people underestimate you. It makes them careless." I set the glass down. My hand didn't shake. "I found something interesting last month," I said. "A folder. Actually, several folders. All shared. All accessible from Mark's laptop. And Trevor's. And Daniel's." Trevor choked slightly on his wine. Daniel's fork paused midair. I hadn't raised my voice, but silence spread across the table like spilled ink. I was surprised at first. I went on. "But then I realized men who call their wives replaceable are usually hiding things they themselves can't survive losing." Mark shifted beside me. "What are you talking about?" He always pretended confusion first. "A delay tactic. A coward script." "I'm talking about the recordings," I said softly. "The conversations about tax evasion, kickbacks, the fake consulting invoices, the threats to that contractor who refused to play along. You should never say illegal things near a device that autosyncs." Trevor's face drained. Daniel looked at Mark with an expression that was halfway between betrayal and terror. Mark whispered, "You wouldn't." "Oh? I already did." I smiled gently, almost lovingly. "A scheduled upload. To a very attentive attorney. Along with a note explaining exactly why I'm filing for divorce first thing tomorrow." For a moment none of them breathed. The storm rattled the windows again, punctuating the room's frozen panic. I stepped closer to Mark, resting my hand on his shoulder the way a wife might in a tender moment. "You once told me I wouldn't survive without you," I whispered. "But I realized you were projecting. You're the one who can't survive losing control." His eyes started to his friends, men who no longer looked like allies but anchors pulling him under. "I didn't ruin you," I said. "You ruined yourselves." I just stopped hiding the evidence. I walked back to my chair, lifted my glass again, and finished my drink slowly, letting the taste settle like the final line of a confession. The police would come within hours, maybe less. I knew the attorney wouldn't sit on something this explosive, and by morning the newspapers would have their headlines. But that wasn't my concern anymore. I gathered the plates with calm precision, listening to the suffocating quiet behind me. None of them spoke. None of them moved. They built an empire of small cruelties and blind arrogance, and now it was collapsing around them one quiet brick at a time. As I walked into the kitchen, the storm eased, leaving a strange, heavy calm in its wake. I exhaled for what felt like the first time in years. Some people think revenge is loud, dramatic, destructive, chaotic. But real revenge is quiet. It breathes, it waits. It steps out of the shadows only when it's ready to be seen. And tonight, it finally saw me. If you want to hear more stories carved from quiet shadows, stay close.